I can see we're live on YouTube. Over to Karen.
Hey, thank you. Well, welcome everybody. Members of the public are advised that individuals in the media may be audibly and or visually recording this meeting. I would like to call this meeting of the Heritage Permit Review Subcommittee, September 16th, 2025, to order. Please note that quorum is present. Committee, you have before you the agenda for this meeting. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? I see Katie and I see Steve. Thank you. Is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, that motion is carried. Are there any declarations of interest today? Okay, none are declared. Thank you. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. So you have before you the minutes from August 19th, 2025, HPRC 25008. May I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented? I see Graham and I see Andy. Is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, that motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, so on to our permit applications for this evening. It's found under section 9 of the agenda. We have 3 permits on the agenda tonight. So the first one is for HP 2025-031, which is pertaining to Center Boulevard in Hamilton, which is the St. Clair Boulevard Heritage Conservation District. So it's part 5 property. And the application is for removal of 2 hazardous trees and their stumps from the Center Boulevard, including 1 Norway maple located opposite 206 St. Clair Boulevard and 1 Norway maple located opposite 219 St. Clair Boulevard, and subsequent planting of 2 replacement trees, 1 being a sugar maple and 1 being a red oak, to be planted in approximately the same locations of the removed trees. Now, is there a representative of the application here to speak to the committee today?
Hi, Karen. Lisa Christie, Cultural Heritage Planner. I'll speak to it on behalf of Forestry.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Please go ahead.
Sure. So as you mentioned, this is the removal of 2 hazardous trees. They're existing Norway maples. They're in very poor condition and considered to be a hazard to the public. They are being replaced with 2 trees that are considered to be native species and better suited to the area. And so that's what we are looking at as a whole. Happy to answer any questions that you guys might have about them.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Graham, please go ahead.
I know we've been getting a lot of these Norway maple things lately. Like, wouldn't this make sense for them to go through and clear them all out and plant a whole bunch of trees all at the same time?
I think based on the, sorry, through the chair, I believe based on the cultural heritage landscape of St. Clair District, I think it would be beneficial to keep the larger mature trees that they have while they wait for the newer plantings to become a bit more mature. We also don't really advise removing trees unless if they are in a state where they need to be removed, because it kind of impacts the overall culture, the heritage of the landscape of the district. So I think that's why they're planning on doing it that way. But yeah, we do see a lot of them because Norway maples have a slightly shorter lifespan and are not as, great of trees.
They're not. They're
Yeah.
invasive. They're not native to our area. They're horrible trees. I used to own 2 acres of land with about a dozen of them on it, and I was picking up stuff that fell off them all the time. They rot very quickly. Like, those trees didn't get that bad overnight.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be others that are half that bad. So I don't know why we're waiting. Well, but it's just a question. Figured I'm one of those people that figures you got all the people there at one time do all the work.
Fair. Alyssa, did you have something to add?
Thanks, Alyssa Golden, Cultural Heritage Program Lead. Just to your point, Graham, it's certainly something we can take back and let forestry know and just see if there is any sort of coordinated approach that they can consider moving forward. But as Lisa mentioned, thinking about succession planning and trying to maintain as much of a tree canopy as some more appropriate native species are planted is advisable from a cultural heritage landscape perspective, and I'm assuming also from a natural heritage perspective.
Thank you, Alyssa. Steve, do you have a question, please, or comment?
I think one of each.
Okay, please go ahead.
Somewhere between a question and a comment. Yeah, the trees in question, last I saw them, I think they need to be cut down for sure. Like they're pretty rotted, and anytime the wind picks up at all, like sometimes quite large branches will fall out, like maybe 5-6 inch diameter branches have landed onto the boulevard, sometimes onto the road, which could hit a person or damage a car. I think the residents in the area would not want to have them all cut down at once, even if their lifespan is foreseeable in the short-term future. I think, and I know nothing about trees or forestry. Let's be totally clear about that. Nothing. I like them, and that's about it. I think I could speak for the community and suggest something along the lines of what Alyssa and Lisa were saying about removing some, planting some new ones, and kind of doing it in successive waves or something, so that there's not all of a sudden nothing. I think I just, based on conversations, I think that's probably what the community would lean towards. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Any other comments from the committee? Andy, please go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, obviously these trees are in rough shape and they do need to come down. I'll just speak on my personal experience living on Mill Street in Mill Street Heritage District in Waterdown. There are quite a few maple trees, very large maple trees, all the way up and down Mill Street. And some of them are starting to fail a bit in storms. Big branches come down. Some have to come down. Others are just trimmed up. I have 3 large sugar maples at the front of our property, and we trim them up every year, try to take the dead wood off. But I had an arborist come out just to look at them, and he was saying that they're all sugar maples. And he said sugar maples were never designed to have the salt and the pollution and all that kind of stuff that comes off the street, and they don't do well and they start to fail over time. These are massive trees, so I'm not sure. One of them is actually classified as a heritage tree. They estimate 125 years old or something like that. It's about 5 feet at the bottom. But I am curious on, just because of the comment from the arborist about the sugar maples, I didn't know if there was any other trees in the area, like even like a sycamore or something that might be a little bit more susceptible to the salt and pollution that you get from the streets, that could be a possible better alternative. They do grow quite large. I did put one in our backyard and it's now massive, and that was just 8 years ago. So they grow quite well in this area, in this climate. But so I was just curious on the selection process of the new, like you said, an oak, I believe that was one of them, and then the sugar maple, only because of the comment that he says the sugar maples, when they are planted on Mill Street, they were planted all in a row very long before almost the streets were there. They're all, and they're quite large now, but he says they're not really, they don't do well in urban centers close to the street with the salt and the pollution and all that. And I'm just curious if there's why that. I know it's named to this area, but if that's the best selection for, they would obviously know forestry. But I'm just curious if staff would have any comment on that, on the selection of the tree replacement. And I would actually make one more through the chair comment. I agree with the process of taking trees down as needed and try to keep as much canopy as possible. taking them all down and have twigs up and down the street would drastically change the entire complex of the neighborhood. So anyway, I just had a quick question through staff if they know our sugar maple is okay to be close to street and street pollution. Thank you. That's all I have right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Andy. Alyssa?
Yeah, through the chair. So just speaking generally, from my understanding, I just did a quick Google search to familiarize myself, but there is an approved tree species list, City of Hamilton tree species list for tree plantings in right-of-way. And Andy, to your point, it does break down in terms of the type of environment and the appropriate type of tree species, including in more intense urban environments, less intense urban environments, and rural context. So obviously a lot of professional advice and recommendations went into the creation of that list. And then in terms of this particular permit, I assume in terms of what a comparable tree in terms of canopy and succession planning for this boulevard would have gone into their selection for these 2 replacement trees. But we could also take that back if there's any further information that our colleagues in forestry can share for your folks' education and information moving forward. We can take that back to them.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks so much.
Okay. I had one comment. If there's no other comments from the committee, thank you. Just like to draw to people's attention. I'm not sure. It looks like this within the note sheet that we were given that there is this excerpt from the St. Clair Boulevard Heritage Conservation District Plan Policies under bylaw 92-140, which goes into quite a big description about the importance of the treescape, the Norway maples on that street, and how they provide a visually cohesive quality, a strong asset to the area, and quite a big description talking about this. And I think that would to suggest that all of them be taken down just to save time or money is, I would agree with the most of the committee, which seems to say that that's probably not the way we should recommend proceeding. So.
No, I meant to take down ones that are showing rot.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if they're showing rot, then and they look like that makes sense. Like the ones that we are recommending taking down. But if they aren't, then I don't think there's any. Yeah, that's my opinion, and sounds like a number of the other people on the committee feel the same way. So please, when you're speaking to whoever is planning to take this out, don't say that this is a recommendation from the committee, please, Lisa. Thank you. Okay, so that being said, if there's no further questions, may we see the proposed conditions, Lisa? Okay, so what we have are the 2 standard conditions. Basically, if there's any minor changes to the plan or elevations, plan or based on the tree removals or new plantings following this discussion, that they should take it up with the director of planning and chief planner prior to any further steps. And so may I have a mover and a seconder to receive the permit application and to recommend approval of Heritage Permit 2025-031. Okay, I see Katie and I see Carol. Thank you. And is there anyone opposed? Okay, seeing none, that motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, our next application for this evening is 9.2 HP 2025-033. Pertaining to the High Level Bridge on York Boulevard, Hamilton, the TB McQuestion High Level Bridge, also known as, and that's a Part 4 structure. And so the application is for installation of temporary promotional materials on the bridge, including custom vinyl decals to be applied to the glazed surfaces of the lanterns to be removed by February 2027, installation of promotional banners in the niches of the 4 stone pylons to be installed in March 2026 and removed in April 2026, and installation of temporary public art pieces in the niches of the 4 stone pylons to be removed by February 2027. Do we have someone to speak to the application, please?
Yep, that's me.
Oh, great. Welcome, Sarah. So
Thank
if
you.
you'd like to take an opportunity to just give a little more information about what the plans are, and then maybe for a few moments, 5 minutes maybe maximum, and then we could take some questions from the committee. So please
Sure.
go ahead. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Chair, and everyone for having me this evening. This is my first committee meeting. I am Sarah Hill. I am a senior project manager with the Tourism and Culture Division. I am new to the city of Hamilton. I joined in July, so I'm really pleased that the Heritage Committee is my first presentation. New to Hamilton, well, I live here in Hamilton, new to the city of Hamilton, but not new to heritage in any way. I come with a background in museum planning and as a member of Architectural Conservancy Ontario and a couple of other heritage committees in other cities. And so, as mentioned, I am going to speak a little bit more on our proposal for the McQueston Bridge. As you might know, just a bit of background, there's quite a few music events coming up for the city in the next 18 months. With the TD Coliseum reopening as a key music venue being one of them, the Juno's Week and the award broadcast in March. And then we'll have a large music industry conference coming to Hamilton in the fall. Locally, there are quite a few other big music events going on outside the regular schedule of events. Theatre Aquarius is going to be launching a brand new musical based on the music of beloved Canadian band Tragically Hip. And both Grant Ave Studios and the Festival of Friends are celebrating their 50th anniversaries. And of course, this is all on top of the amazing events, festivals, music talent concerts that are already happening in Hamilton on a regular basis. And so as a division, we've come together and said, this is a really great opportunity to celebrate sound across the city and bring together people around the idea of the year of music. And so through this, we want to grow awareness and have locals take pride in Hamilton as a city of music. And to ensure that we're making a positive first impression on new visitors coming into the city. So we're, as part of this campaign, looking at a number of different beautification and pageantry initiatives. And so we want to include the McQueston Bridge in as part of that. It is a key gateway into the city. And so we want to be able to celebrate it as part of it. We want to make sure that it's able to look as good as it can. And so, as mentioned, we've got 3 different proposals that we're putting forward. One is for the temporary application of some very colorful decals celebrating this Hamilton as a city of music to the 11. There are 12, but one has been temporarily discombobulated. It's come off the bridge, so there are 11. At the moment in place. We'd be looking at doing the temporary banners to promote the Junos for that kind of 2-month period in the niches, and then looking at how we can celebrate music through public art in those niches, which of course capture a lot of history buffs, imagination and interest. And so no decisions have really been made thus far. We're kind of working through some early designs. Like I said, this will complement other beautification works going across the city. We're looking at banners on major roadways. We're looking at doing ground murals around the TD Coliseum. We're looking at how we can use some of this colorful graphics to improve the underpasses where the GO line goes through. And so we're looking at first applying to the Heritage Committee to see if this concept is supportable before moving forward with any further work on planning. And so I'll leave that there.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. That's some excellent background. Appreciate that. and thank you and welcome to the committee for your first time.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so are there any questions from the committee or questions or comments? Okay, so we'll start with Carol, please. Go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, I have a question. First of all, I like the idea of in the lanterns, a graphic approach. I think it's quite effective, when you're seeing it from a bit of a distance and kind of quickly. I was wondering if there was any significance to the choice of colors for those, especially for the lanterns. So I guess there's the lanterns and there's the niches. So I'm talking about the lanterns because the colors are quite, they have an impact, and I'm just wondering if if they stand for anything, or if the colors are, kind of, if they're going to be finalized, or I'm just finding them, I think there's a lot of green, and I guess I associate green, and people do sometimes, with nature. So I just wondered if there was any significance to the choice of colors.
Sure, no, that's a great question. So yes, they do link back to the colors in the City of Music logo that the City of Hamilton has and uses to promote the city as a city of music. And so they're a very vibrant color. There's 2 different shades of blue. There's a purple, a green, a red, and a yellow. And then of course we've got the black and kind of the white. So we would be looking to draw on those color schemes. And you'll when the banners go up and things like that, our other artwork that we're working on draws from those colors as well.
Okay, thank you. Katie, please go ahead.
My question is also about the lanterns, actually. Are the lanterns functional? Like, do they shed light right now? Does anybody know? Or are they just there?
Alyssa, did you have an answer?
Yeah, through the chair, I'll just chime in. So they haven't been functional for some time. There was a heritage permit a number of years ago. So technically Public Works staff are the managers of this asset. There had been a permit to look at temporarily removing the lanterns to sort of understand the full scope of what repairs needed to be done, restore them, and replace them. Unfortunately, that was never implemented. But my understanding is they are not currently functional, but I know Sarah was doing some follow-up work, so maybe she can confirm if I'm incorrect.
Sure. Yeah, through the chair. Yes, I believe they were functional at one time. I've seen a couple of archival images that show them illuminated at night. So they did work at one point. And I believe there is some interest as a legacy piece to this to pursue that restoration process once again, kind of reinvigorate it. And so we're working on that with Public Works as part of some of the other infrastructure improvement projects, as well. In speaking to Alyssa, there's also another permit, or a kind of an ongoing permit for graffiti removal. So there are those other aspects to the project.
Okay, I just mostly my question was, if they were functional, then I would want to see the decals not blocking too much of the light. But if they're not functional, then I guess we don't have to be too concerned about that. I think if they were functional, it would be kind of a cool thing if the decals were semi-see-through and they still functioned as lanterns, but also as these sort of posters for the cool cultural stuff that's happening in the city. Because I think, I love what you're talking about. So all of it is very exciting. But yeah, if they're not functional, then I guess we don't have to worry too much about making sure that the light comes through. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Sandra, do you have a question or comment, please? I think you're on mute if you are speaking.
I know.
Thank you.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you. So a lot of the questions I'm noticing revolve around the aesthetic, the look, the proportions. When are visualizations going to be shared? I haven't really seen any graphics. Is that the intention, Sarah?
Yes, we are working with our internal comms department on putting together graphics for all of the different pageantry elements that are very consistent and as I mentioned, in terms of the color scheme and the approach. We haven't designed these specific for the lanterns just yet. We, as I said, wanted to get kind of a feel from the committee to see whether or not this was something that could be supported before going ahead with that. And so we could definitely be able to provide, those types of things moving forward.
Yeah, I personally am not against the idea as long as it's appropriate within the context. Showing pictures of the existing, is not really giving us any sort of help other than imagination and believing you. So I would appreciate to see some sort of rendering. Maybe it's a Photoshop thing, kind of communicating in a kind of visual way what that would look like. Thank you.
Just to add to that, Sandra, in one of the proposed conditions is that the graphics and designs, materials, and method for the installation of the decals will be provided to the city and prior to any moving forward with it. So it's currently planned to not come to our committee. The design, the graphics, we could make it that as a condition. However, oftentimes things we leave that in the hands of the city. So that's a decision, I guess, for us as a committee, whether we need to see it first. Okay. Are there any other comments? Oh, Alyssa, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, thanks, Karen. So through the chair, I just wanted to note, yes, that's currently as draft conditions for consideration would be for that to come back through staff, but obviously it's this subcommittee's purview in terms of wanting to potentially recommend a different condition or a different approach. But I also wanted to make sure that folks did see there was a very sort of high-level mock-up that Sarah had provided that was in the package. So I will just share that and make sure I'm sharing the right application, just to make sure folks were aware. And hopefully you're seeing my screen right now with the mock-ups. Okay, so yes, very high level, but in terms of, yeah, for example, where the decals would be and what the concepts could look like, and also at a high level what the banner concepts could look like and where they would sit. So this was, as Sarah was mentioning, details to still be worked out, but this is the initial mock-ups that were provided as a part of this application.
And is that the logo, the one that you were describing, the one with the colors, the circle with the black circle, is that the actual decided logo?
Yes, that is the City of Hamilton's Hamilton City of Music logo. I believe it's been around for a little while. I think it was designed perhaps in 2017, 2018, maybe. So, and you might have seen it on the banners at Super Pro.
Okay. Well, we obviously need to see it more, obviously. Okay, are there any further questions or comments? Okay, I see Graham and then Andy after.
Yeah, actually, I've heard a lot of mentions of the banners and lots of the decals, but I've heard nothing about the art pieces. Any idea what they're going to look like?
So the short answer on that one is no. Other than, obviously it would be something that would fit into the niche. I think there's definitely some logistical things that need to be taken in consideration in terms of the size and the wind resistance and things like that. And we'd be looking at something that would be related to the theme of music.
Okay, so that's an unknown then.
That's an unknown. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just saw it listed there, and I've heard no mention about it, so I'd find out. I've always hated that those 4 niches are empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a mystery. I was quite intrigued when I read about it, and then it just made me think of places like London and the fourth plinth that's there. And
Yeah, there was an argument over whose heads were going to be in the corners, I think, at the time.
Okay, Andy, do you have a question, please?
Yeah, through the chair. It's more on the installation method. I was just curious on the glass. If it is glass, it looks awfully frosted. But on these lanterns, is it single pane glass? And I'm just curious if these are steel and stick, like peel and stick to stick on the glass, just for the removal portion of not damaging any of the original glasses on there once the the stickers are removed. I'm just curious on the process and what actually is there. It's hard to see. It looks like there's something there, but it almost looks like a frosted glass, or even if it is glass. I'm just curious if you know the material, if it's a single pane piece of glass or that's on the lanterns themselves as it is right now. Through the chair.
I don't know specifically. I think that's something that needs to be investigated, and our team at Tourism Culture involves our public art team, which includes our public art conservator. And so we'd be looking to go out and make kind of those assessments to determine precisely the dimensions and the materials that are currently there. But we understand that this needs to be temporary, and it's an important heritage structure. So we need to make sure whatever approach we take with the vendor is something that will make sure it stays put for the time being, but that can be easily removed and there's no trace of it afterwards.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. Thanks, Andy. Are there any further questions? Okay, then, Lisa, could you please?
Oh, Karen,
yeah.
sorry, I see Sandra
Go
had her
ahead.
hand back up there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sandra, please go ahead. I didn't notice that, sorry.
I'm kind of picking up on Andy's comments, or maybe where Andy was going about the fastening. Is this element going to be pressure fit? Is there some screwing involved? How is it going to be reversible? Is it a sticker? Is it a piece of cardboard? What is the material? And I think there needs to be a little bit more effort put into the visualization again, and like a proper drawing, kind of showing the intent and the detail of that.
Alyssa?
Thanks, Karen. Through the chair, I'll just clarify in terms of the decals. So in the description of work and Sarah's submission, currently proposed to be vinyl decals, and again, removable, very standard in terms of the approach of, across the city, we have other installations on other buildings on windows. So our understanding is that's sort of the intent. And then as Sarah mentioned, would be working with our conservator staff that's over in Heritage Resource Management in terms of making sure the appropriate material and reversibility would come into play. And those would be details that, if approved under the conditions proposed, that would come back through staff. In terms of the banners within the niches, our initial conversations with Sarah and team were exactly that, talking about something that would be sort of pressure fitting, avoid having to anchor in if possible. Obviously, we need to make sure that they're sound and safe and aren't going to blow away or cause further damage. But that's something that I believe Sarah needs to investigate further, that we as staff would be comfortable having come back through us. But I think from their perspective, needed to get a sense of if this is something that was supportable from the subcommittee before investigating further and investing in those additional details.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, if may I request Lisa to please put up the proposed conditions. There's quite a few for this one, so we can look at each one and see whether, okay, so the first one is around the proposed design, details of the proposed designs, materials, and installation method for the temporary decals be submitted and approved by the Director of Planning and Chief Planner. So coming back to city for that. That the final details of the proposed designs, materials, installation method, and any required anchoring for the temporary banners, so that would be in the niches, be submitted to the satisfaction and approval of city. that the final details of proposed designs, materials, and installation methods of the temporary public art installations be submitted as well, and to the for the approval, the Director of Planning and Chief Planner. And any changes to what we've seen here, it would be submitted again, and that the temporary promotional decals on the lanterns and the banners and public art be removed by February 1st, 2027. So they won't be here beyond their needed lifespan. So there's a number of conditions recommended there. Hopefully they would meet what the committee is, all the questions they had. Or if we want to pursue more information needed, you know, that's our option. So why don't we discuss that just a little bit? Okay, so could we, what I'll do, okay, I'll just ask right now, may I have a mover and a seconder to receive the permit application and to recommend approval of the heritage permit 2025-033? Mover and a seconder. I see Graham and I see Katie. Okay, thank you. And is there anyone opposed to this application as with these conditions as presented? Okay, I see none. So then that is carried. So that means, so great, Sarah. Thank you very much for coming in. You follow up with city staff on next steps in terms of how that information is provided to them for further review. And but I think everybody agrees it would be nice, welcome into the city and bring it to people's attention, because, you know, really you drive down that street and there's really not a lot happening, right? And this will be something kind of perk it up, you know, and draw some attention to this big events that we're having. So thank you for that. Good
Great. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your support, and thanks for a good welcoming first meeting.
Okay, take care. Thanks for joining us. Okay, we will move on then to our final application for this evening. 9.3 HP 2025-034, which is 271 McNabb Street South in Hamilton, which is part of the Durand Markland Heritage Conservation District, Part 5 property. And the application is for underpinning and renovations of the basement, including removal of 2 existing basement windows on the north elevation, which includes infill of 1 existing window opening with 8-inch concrete block and stucco finish to match the surrounding wall. And the second part is replacement of the other existing window with new double glazed window to fit the existing opening. And along with that, there would be installation of a new exhaust fan ventilation system. So do we have a representative from the applicant to speak to the committee?
Yes.
Okay, welcome, Paul. So as you've seen, if you'd like to take 5 minutes to further discuss or describe the application, that would be very helpful. Anything that we haven't mentioned you'd like to bring to our attention? And then there will be the questions from the committee.
Okay, so for one of the windows that is on the north side, the reason we propose it being enclosed with the block and the stucco to match is to suit the new stair that would have to be installed due to the underpinning. The stair would have to go further down. So to suit the building code requirements for the landing and the stairs, that one would have to be infilled. It was brought to our attention that it would be preferred if that window that is at the back could be reused and relocated to the front opening, which that front opening now is just kind of infilled with plywood. So we could use that back window and try to relocate it to the front. And then the new exhaust fan for the bathroom would come out the side of the house, which would be covered also by an existing front garden that should cover any exhaust fan from being seen from the street.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions from the committee for the applicant, please? Okay, Katie, please go ahead, and then we'll have Carol.
My question's about the window that's going to be infilled. I don't know if this is something that our committee is normally supportive of or suggests. Like, I know that the window is no longer viable from the inside because of the location of the stair landing, but I'm wondering if it's possible to leave the opening intact and like have a false window there and have it closed.
Wait, we can't hear you. I'm not sure what happened to your microphone, but it went all fuzzy.
Through the chair. Yeah, Katie, it got a bit fuzzy there just as you were partway through.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, I took you out of my headphones. Sorry, I don't know what went on with that. I don't know how far I got. I don't know, like, if we could have them block it in from the inside so that they can have the stair landing where they want, but that the outside, the window opening is still sort of visually maintained. Because I know that in the note sheet, it talked a lot about, like, there was several lines about the importance of maintaining existing window openings. So I don't know if that's something that our committee has ever recommended on projects like this before. Like, is that an option? Maybe that's just like a general discussion question. Throw it out there, and if other people want to comment on their turn, they can.
I mean, Alyssa, maybe you'd like to comment. I would just say, I think that sounds like something we could recommend, as that could be one of our, right? There's no reason why not.
Yeah, through the chair, that's certainly an option that's been taken on other designated properties before, when interior changes sort of prevent a window opening from being maintained, but it allows it to be reversible in the future if other changes happen. I would maybe caveat that with generally we're talking about probably really significant window openings on the front and side facades. Basement window opening maybe not as significant in terms of the impact of that close-in, especially the north rear that's proposed here.
Yeah.
But if that is something that the subcommittee wants to recommend, I'm not sure if Paul is able to speak to any challenges from a building perspective in terms of accomplishing any necessary fire rating of how that window is closed in. That might be the only other consideration in terms of the feasibility of that.
The only thing that I would think maybe might be more preferred is if we did relocate the window to the front, because the front opening, I guess the window was damaged at some point, so it just filled in with plywood. It might be more preferable to have that front opening have an existing like window, and then maybe have the back one infilled with a newer window or the block wall. I'm not sure what would be preferred there.
Okay. So what you're saying, it sounds like you would be open to potentially keeping the structure, the arched window appearance. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. Our plan was just to infill like the existing frame that's there for the window. I'm not sure if we sent some photos in as part of our application, if you've seen them, where we're just hoping to keep it the same size, so we wouldn't change any of that. So we would be open to, if we need to, maybe keep that frame.
Okay. All right. So next on the list, we have Carol for a question.
Yeah. It is related to the last question and comments as well. But now I see a picture that I must have not seen. I mean, I didn't see it, so I must have missed it. I was wondering, and I actually went to Google Maps and I looked at the building because I didn't have an idea of what it looked like. So I looked all around to try to get a sense of where these windows were, but now I can see exactly where they are. And it's good to see that now they're visible much more than I thought they were. So yeah, I think that has to be a consideration, that the windows just aren't blocked in with, the concrete blocks. I think even though it's a small area, those blocks, you can always tell they have an effect to them. They have a real effect of I don't know, changing. Yeah, I like the false window idea. And, you know, it just had to look something like what it looks like now and not work. So now I've seen the pictures. Thank you. That helped me a lot because honestly, I didn't know where they were or anything because I was studying all these drawings and I couldn't figure out where things were. So that has helped. Now I get it. So that's what I would like to see because it is a beautiful house and it is heritage house in a heritage district. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Carol. I have next on my list, Graham.
Yeah, thank you. My point was just going to go back into that blocking in the window. There's a lot of ghost windows in the city of Hamilton and other cities where they've been partially bricked in, blocked in, where the opening's still there, but you can't see through, whereas you get the fire rating. You don't have to worry about ingress of water if the glass gets broken, but it kind of maintains the look. So losing the glass, I don't think is a big deal. I think they kind of like to keep the opening just to make sure it looks like it does when it was built.
Okay, thank you for that. Are there any other comments or questions? Andy, please go ahead.
I just make a comment to think that the suggestion that Katie made about the keeping the window there and having a false window, I think it's an excellent idea. It'll keep the aesthetics of the outside, and for that matter, it might even be cheaper than blocking it in and putting some kind of exterior cladding, whether it be stucco over the exterior as well. But I like the idea of keeping the opening there. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. I had a question. I think I heard the suggestion that the window be moved from like the actual middle part of the window be moved to the front window that's currently boarded up. And I just wanted to know, do we know, is that window structure as it is right now, is it old? Like how old is that second basement window? Or is it, do we know?
I'm not sure the exact age, but it is pretty old. I think it matches that existing, what was there before.
Like
I
I'm
don't
just
think it's
wondering.
ever been replaced.
Okay, so it's might like be considered a heritage window then.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, that one I wouldn't know exactly the details of that.
Okay. Because I mean, if we were suggesting that it be picked up and retransferred into the other window opening, maybe that would need rework as well. I haven't seen a real close up of that or whether it's still viable as a working window. So, okay. Graham, do you have a question?
I just got a comment. In the April 2012 street view, you can see that front window in place and it matches what's in the back.
Okay, there we go.
So it
Thank
would
you.
be a good replacement for it if it's, again, in decent shape. It would be nice to get that moved up. Then you got the original-ish kind of window at the front.
Yeah.
Just obviously can't tell if that window's in great shape or not. That's up to the homeowner to find out. Like, unfortunately, we're not experts looking at a picture.
And I guess then if the homeowner does look at it and decide that it's really not good, viable to move it forward, the quality of the wood is all corroded or whatever, that we would recommend that it be made to look the same, similar to the previous design so that it fits in with the heritage look of the house, correct? Yeah.
100%.
Okay. All right. Are there any further questions then before we move on to look at the proposed conditions? Okay. Yes, Katie, please.
I just wanted to clarify whether we had a preference for the rear window between it being a false window with glass versus what I think Graham was suggesting, which I also think that I would be happy with either. So false window with glass, but boarded up behind, or a like leave I guess the outline of the existing window, but fill it in. Like you see that a lot with brick, I guess, where you can still see the outline and you can see like the lintel across the top, but it's the same material as the rest of the wall. Do we have a preference between those two? Do we want to indicate either in the conditions or anything?
Okay, Carol, would you like to comment? Oh,
Muted.
you're mute.
Yeah, as I said, I don't think there's really any contest there as far as, you know, using a part of the wall to fill up a window opening. I think if it doesn't have to be done, it should never be done. I've seen a lot of heritage and it really, you know, it's kind of, it's a distraction, first of all, even if it is small. So I would not propose that idea. I would definitely propose something that, you know, has the window frame, and if you don't want to put glass in it, as Graham mentioned, because maybe it's going to be susceptible to getting broken, or maybe you could find something that, you know, is not wall material, is what I'm saying. There must be some examples of that around. I definitely, having, you know, been, sort of in this for such a long time, and there has been always the preference to not do that if you are in a position to advise. It really, I know there's a lot of it and it really doesn't look good. It's quite awful to do that to a heritage building when you could do something else, but I would not do that
Thank you, Carol.
from my experience.
Yep.
Mhm.
And Graham, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was going to say I kind of agree with Carol, but the problem with putting a glass window behind it, there's no air movements. You're going to have condensation build up. You're going to have rot. You're going to have mold. You're going to have all kinds of problems. I'm not putting that on a homeowner. I'm highly recommending that they're going to block it in, leave the opening as best as you can, and block it in. Don't make it a smooth wall, but have the ghost window. Even look at the house next door, you can see they have a ghost window on the front. I think that's the best compromise for the homeowner and for long term of the home. Because if you have water go down in behind that window, it's going to start affecting that rubble stone they have.
Okay, thank you for that new graphic the new photograph we see there. It's very quick
Yeah.
and appreciated.
It's always some practical considerations. I agree with that, Graham, but what it does to the authenticity of the facade is, or even the basement area that you could see is, it's drastic. It's just solving some practical considerations and technical, you know, possibilities or probabilities. There must be another way. I don't think that should be the only reason to block in a heritage window. I really know that there's other ways that restoration architects are using. And I wouldn't mind looking it up because this does come up from time to time. And I would like something that, you know, has been proven to be everything that the owner wants. In other words, it's not terribly out of reach economically. You know, it protects the building, it protects the opening, and yet, you know, it doesn't deviate from the design. I mean, when you block in those things, you are ruining a particular historical design of a building. And once you do that, you know, you start to, well, yeah, you really diminish the effect of the heritage district. And it shouldn't be continued. You know, I think it was a bit of a trend, and it shouldn't continue to be. It's, you know, yeah, that's what I think. I think you have to find another solution because it's yeah, it's the building is still, is very important in the district and in the Heritage Conservation District, so,
Okay, thank you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
understand. We hear you.
yeah,
Um,
okay.
and Alyssa, did you have a comment to add?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we are all clear on the particular windows that we're talking about. If I can just share and double check here and make sure I'm sharing the right window. That as per the plans, so hopefully you're seeing my screen with the note sheet document and the image. So this is looking from McNabb. So it's this rear window at the basement level that's proposed to be blocked in, and this one is being maintained. So just to be clear in terms of the extent of how set back that is, and not necessarily as visible as the front and immediate side facades, just if that impacts the discussion at all.
That's correct.
Oh,
Yes, Carol?
I
Please.
could say one other little thing. I would prefer myself that the stucco be, I mean, say you're going to block it in with concrete blocks, or you're going to, leave the frame and fill it in with something else. I would, if you were gonna do that, I would prefer to eradicate it and have that whole wall just look like it's going right down to the bottom and there was nothing there. Because it's towards the back, the front is more important, but because it actually matches the front, so it would be nice to keep it and have a kind of a window look to it. But my second choice would be just stucco wall it over. Although I can't believe I'm saying that, but,
I can't even.
but
Who is this?
yeah, but not fill it in with showing that it used to be there. Even though that I know what that tries to do. I know that it's to say, well, okay, there was a window like that, and I certainly understand that approach, but it doesn't, again, it looks bizarre and weird, and so that's my second point, is that I could see that wall coming right down and like it never had a window. That's what I could see without, walking by and going, oh my God. That's, I want to add that in case we couldn't get a window in there. A false window. So that's why I'm adding that.
A lot of different suggestions here. And as a committee, we will have to recommend something. So, I guess maybe we could look at the proposed conditions at this point and see what they are. So, so I guess the conditions as written they're not really talking so much about the back window as they are about the front basement window, right? So specifications for the proposed new basement window, including the style and material, be submitted prior to doing the project. And then the venting and vent cover details and location be submitted to city staff for approval. And then the other two standard conditions about any changes and that it has to be done within 2 years. So we haven't really, neither of these address what our recommendation is for the back window. Alyssa, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, through the chair, Karen, I was going to just suggest we could put some language together for a condition that specifications for addressing the blocked-in rear window come back through staff, or if you want to be more prescriptive in terms of your expectation for it based on what you've been discussing. But if you wanted to add that condition and clarify what your preference is, that could be something that the details, because there could be some back and forth depending on building code requirements, some other constraints. But if you feel a certain way and you want to recommend that, then we can be more prescriptive in how that condition could look.
Okay. Because I think we should put something about the back window because there's a lot of interest in this and different opinions on how it should be done. Let me ask this, as heritage staff, is there like a standard approach that is normally recommended? As in, would you prefer a ghost window or would you prefer it just be eradicated?
Yeah, Lisa might have some thoughts as well. I think in terms of our review of this application, where this particular window is located and the type of building it is as well, being stuccoed, that completely closing in and closing that off makes sense visually. It doesn't have a significant impact. That's my take at least. Lisa, I'm not sure if you have further thoughts or elaboration on that.
I would tend to agree. I would also note that from the public right of way, this window is not exactly super visible. The one at the rear, at least, is not super visible, and it's quite small. So, what happens to it and the removal of it, I think, would be supportable if it was just stuccoed over. But yeah.
Okay. Okay, committee. So so the way it's written right now is that, or the way that Alyssa was suggesting is that it would be brought back to city staff and they would make it from there. Okay, so, okay. Let's take a look then. And do I have a mover and a seconder then to, with the conditions as proposed, to receive the permit application and to recommend approval of heritage permit 2025-034-271, 034, subject to these staff recommended conditions?
Excuse me, can we add the condition, they investigate the viability of saving that rear window? Not forcing them to save it, but just the viability of it.
Yeah. Yes, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, and use it as, if possible.
If possible.
So through the chair, the
Yes.
draft conditions that were in the note sheet originally, and then plus 2 conditions wording to be confirmed. One, that the owner investigate the viability of reusing the existing window and relocating it.
Mhm.
And that the final details for closing in the rear window, the sort of approach, come back through staff.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, that sounds great. Thank you. Okay, so do I have a mover and a seconder, please, for those? Okay, I see Katie and I see Carol. Thank you. And is there anyone opposed? Okay, I see none. So that is carried. Thank you all. Okay, Paul, thank you very much. So staff will definitely be following up with you to discuss next steps. And yeah, we appreciate your time and thank you for coming to the committee.
Okay, thank you guys very much. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, take care.
Okay. Can I ask one question before we all go? There is mention of underpinning in the permit, but we didn't discuss it.
That's true. There was some information in the notes and the attachments around the underpinning. There's quite a lot of details and what do you call it? Architectural details, I thought. Did you see that? Like, did you have any specific questions? How about that?
Well, normally we give permission for people digging into their foundations, changing their outside grading, all that kind of stuff. Sort of like the Gibson School when they came to put waterproofing on the outside, they had to come to us get a permit. They mentioned the underpinning, and they're mentioning the parging and water sealing of the rubble stone wall. So I'm surprised we didn't discuss it.
I guess there was no questions about it.
Yeah, sorry, through the chair. So in terms of the trigger for the heritage permit, so technically those interior scopes of work, if there's no impact proposed, this is in a heritage district, it's not individually designated property. We are assessing impacts to the exterior of the property. We did take a look at those scopes, but the trigger for this particular heritage permit is that work then requiring exterior changes. So that is why the heritage permit is worded the way that it is. If there were concerns in terms of detrimental impact to the structure, we could have considered more further review of those details through the heritage permit. But the ultimate trigger for this particular application was related to the exterior changes.
Okay, so they're doing the underpinning from inside
Yes.
and the water ceiling from inside.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. That's why I was just asking, because it was the underpinning was mentioned and a lot of details were mentioned, and not very often you water seal on the inside, you do it to the outside. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Graham. Okay, all right then.
And then,
Lisa, please.
sorry, Lisa had her hand up as well. I think she just had a brief update
Oh, there she is. Okay.
under other items for you as well.
Okay, please go ahead, Lisa.
Sure. So just wanted to flag for you folks that Mount Hope Library is undergoing some, or potentially undergoing some renovations. They're looking at doing some window updates and removal of, the drop ceiling to reinstate the wood paneled ceiling,
Nice.
as well as, as well as adding or changing the canopy that's on front of it. And reinstating the front window and transom. So there is a public consultation, public community meeting on October 24th, or sorry, September 24th in the evening. I'll circulate the link to you folks if you're interested in it. I just wanted to confirm that we have been in talks with the heritage consultant and they are coming in for a heritage permit as well. It's just that they have to do that public consultation first, so we didn't want to cross any ties here. So they will be coming to consult with us as well, but they have to do their public meeting first. So if you're interested, you could check it out, or just search it online. They do have a website, and then you'll probably see it next month or the following month. So just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention.
Thank you. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. Nice to get warned about something.
Yeah. Okay. As there is no other business, I adjourn the meeting at 6:07 p.m. And our next meeting, thank you all, our next meeting is scheduled for October 21st, 2025. Thank you all for joining us. Nice to see you all.
See you then.
Thanks,
Hopefully
everybody.
I can breathe.
Good night.
Thanks, Dad.